Good, isn't he? You need to hang on to that one, because if he could smarten his act up a bit, perhaps put a pullover on, he'd be a good presenter for this, wouldn't he? I love this idea of daughter as like the wicked witch of e-business. You know, if you don't, the enforcer, if you don't do as you're told, if you don't implement, if you don't improve and make money, then she's going to tell you off. So
I'm not sure I like this new reputation.
Fantastic.
They got a flying monkey. But some of us do need good whipping, though.
I've hardly told anybody off yet.
We'll discuss that later. Yeah, thanks very much to Neat. You guys, that looks fantastic. I mean, I haven't played with it yet, and no doubt it'll break in 10 minutes flat, but that looks absolutely stunning, so really looking forward to getting on. I haven't even joined it yet, and some people had the temerity to join before me and get going.
You're out of touch. You have to have a website.
Right, okay, Google Analytics then. My bit is the sort of warm-up monkey with the why. Now, hopefully, why would you run analytics? Hopefully we've got some fairly clear idea. Why would you do it? So you can see what's kind of going on. The problem is, when you mention web stats, everybody starts to glaze over. So good for you for kind of turning out in this kind of number for a web stats kind of event. It's usually web stats and then yada, yada, yada. Actually, you know, the secret is in the numbers. The kind of, if you ever go on my courses, we talk about the secret to search is all about understanding the numbers, getting the key phrase right, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same once they get to the website. The secrets to unlocking the real kind of wealth potential of your website, its most productivity is actually in the numbers. It's looking at what Google Analytics can kind of do. Now, have we got anyone from Risley Saddlery here tonight? Okay. So I'll pick on them anyway. Risley Saddlery, very traditional kind of saddlery leather makers in Derbyshire. They put some stats on their website, and then early on one of the courses and events that they kind of came to, found that they were perhaps selling leather gear to a market they didn't quite realise, if that kind of makes sense. And it's a kind of fascinating thing to kind of find out, and perhaps something that they might kind of target a little bit better, particularly going very well in America apparently. So they'll pay a fortune for a saddle over there. Okay, so
They don't even have horses.
So this is the kind of reaction you get when it starts. Oh, that's boring. That's the sort of techie, geeky bit. Oh God, that's what accountants do. I think we had an accountancy firm down in Leicester when we did it about 48 hours ago, and we mentioned kind of stats and got into it, and his eyes lit up. So this is for everybody. It's really important. It's really kind of fundamental. You wouldn't drive a car, perhaps with some heavy goggles on, or with a white stick sticking out of the window. You shouldn't be driving your business online, your website, without understanding where you're trying to get to and the obstacles along the way. Because if you don't do this, if you look at it the other way around, now remember the two motivations, or motivations based on fear or pursuit of pleasure. Well, here's the fear. If you don't do it, how are you ever going to kind of hit those targets? You're just going to blunder into one problem for another. It might take you years to kind of figure things out, really. So, what are we talking about with web metrics and web stats? Stats are the kind of how the site's kind of performing. Metrics are what you are choosing to measure, like bounce back. Everybody should be getting bored with me saying bounce back at this point, but it is really crucial. What's bounce back? Denise Petit.
God.
Come on.
The speed at which people leave your site.
Well, the percentage that immediately leave your site, so that whether it's they're arriving at deep into a particular deep URL on your web page and not going subsequently to another one, or they're arriving at the home page and not going to the depths of the website. So you should kind of understand, number one, be able to measure that number, and then two, come up with a percentage. Now, what you've then got to do to make that meaningful and not an abstract figure is compare it to other people's. Kind of make sense? And that's why we've got this stat sharing aspect of eChampions kind of warming up. We're not asking you to share your gross margin and operating profits and things like that. It's about the operation of the website and making that the most efficient machine it can be. So hopefully, not everybody's just going to come to the SEO events and miss everything else. It's not just about traffic generation. It's about what happens on that website and making it a bit more effective. So, why bother? Kind of gone through it already, but it's about your return on your investment. If you hopefully you want to do more than make $1 million online, okay, that's a great kind of vision, but it's not really a set of goals or objectives. You've got to break that down and say, okay, this month I'm going to try and lower the bounce back by 10%. This year I'm going to try and get the number of page views up from 3 or 4 up to 6 or 7, because there's a lot of research shows once you start hitting those numbers, people gaining more trust. putting larger items in the shopping cart, all that kind of stuff. If you want a kind of practical reason as well, how about cutting your costs? How about cutting the costs that you're spending on pay-per-click? How about cutting the costs that you're spending on organic search? It can really kind of do these things for you, really.
I don't like that last one.
Say again?
I don't like that last one.
Yeah, invest in this one, especially with Optilion.
But not cutting your spend.
Well, it's about frittering less traffic. How about that?
Transferring your spend from PPC to SEO is...
Okay. Okay, well, I'll accept that one as well. We want to do analytics at kind of 3 levels. So this is not kind of uber geek level about how to do analytics tonight. But it is about this first part, which is get it, get going and get sharing. That's tonight's stuff. And then as we go on into eChampions, then we're going to have other events every few months that are actually, now you've got some stats, let's all bring them together and I'll look at yours and you can look at mine, and we'll see how we kind of compare to each other. I might be better at bounce back, you might be better at shopping cart abandonment, something like that. And we've got some kind of stats that we can share. So my first 5 minutes that I've just about done is the get it. Daughter is going to come on in a second with the kind of get going, and hopefully if you want to become full eChampions, then that's about sharing your stats. Easy for me to say. If you don't want to share your stats and you just want to kind of play around the edges, you're more than welcome at these events as a sort of basic eChampion. If you want to be part of this little clique that gets policed by Daughter and Alan and the rest of the team and like bullied into success, then that's the kind of full member level, really. Okay, so once we've done tonight's bit, encourage you to all to get analytics on between now and... Who thinks that they might be able to put some analytics, put some script on their website in the next sort of 4 weeks so they can start tracking stats? Yeah? Who's got analytics running at the moment? Okay. Who's running any other stat package? Stat counter? Yeah. I like it. What's wrong? It's fine. Okay, so next event, not literally the next event, but we're going to have an event coming up in about 3 or 4 months' time that's going to be, okay, let's start to use this a little bit more intelligently. Let's put some materials on the website that you can see how to kind of benchmark against other people. Start to get creative with that data, really. Then what we hope is that over the next few months you develop into kind of little obsessive cliques in the corner where there's a little kind of sign that might say SEO going on over here, and you form this little clique and you start to really kind of share stuff, because I think I'm right in saying, Alistair, that there is some functionality where people can sort of private message and form little groups, and yeah, so we're hoping we'll kind of form little groups that are looking at SEO but for e-commerce companies versus perhaps SEO for service companies, and export versus UK market, all that kind of stuff. I didn't mention the European Social Fund, which Export has just reminded me. So we are part sponsored, part funded by the European Social Fund, and we do appreciate them helping support this. And a key part of the bid was a specific mention that we would help you try and target export, help you try and identify kind of new markets. So it's really nice that some of the early people, I think our friend, what's your name? Rob from, is it Gale Force Media?
Multimedia.
I was nearly right, come on. Gale Force Multimedia, yeah, I think Rob was just having his started session done like about 2 days ago, something like that, and he's exporting a piece of software into America. That seems to be where you're hoping to kind of target it. So that's kind of exactly what they hope you do, except you do some proper numbers, you know, not that you're not. But. Okay, so funnel and path analysis, just to sort of introduce a few little kind of terms to do with this. You're basically going to drive traffic to your website from a lot of different methods. It could be your online activity, physically going to networking stuff, handing your cards out. Could be SEO, could be pay-per-click, links, all sorts of stuff. Once they arrive at the website, this is about as being as efficient as we can to get them to target. Daughter in a minute is going to talk about goals within analytics and where you can kind of put a target and a goal to measure against. But if 100 people arrive, we're trying to get as many as that 100 as possible to the sort of meet and the target on the website that's going to do the most damage. Now we hope it looks like nice and fat like that, but actually in reality probably it's looking pretty pointy at the moment. Very few kind of really going through to a purchase or make a decision or opt in or whatever you're kind of targeting, really. So it's about making these visitors into prospects, customers, repeat customers. It's about effectively pushing the bottlenecks through, hopefully through the business and out the other side. So it's a lot more about efficient at kind of what it does, really.